On today's Saturday news, WWE wants to work with more Japanese promotions.
We had huge debut on Smackdown.
The Rock just broke CM Punk's record.
And WWE are looking at a former NWA Women's Champion. Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Happy New Year and all that jazz. I'm back with Gareth to talk all things wrestling news, but what have we got first?
We've got the sun seeping in through the window. It's magnificent because it's a good old day, and it's a good day to talk about WWE just expanding their partnerships, you could say, just kind of spreading the wings a little bit and being like, you know what, we can play ball with people because that's the new world we live in. They're not just an exclusive. Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. It's like they're not this company now that are just like, oh, hey, everyone did a WWE or bust. They're like, no, we're going to work with other companies, specifically Japanese promotions, because over the last month or so, it's been kind of revealed now, and it's made official that they have got a partnership with AJPW, so All Japan Pro Wrestling, and they are. Obviously, they've sent NXT's Charlie Dempsey over there. He's had a couple of matches, and he's been doing quite well. And it's led a lot of people to be thinking, all right, is that this mean WWE is just going to open its doors now to other promotions? Is that's a cool thing? If that's what we're going to do going forward? And Dave Meltzer, in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, has said that WWE just don't appear to be content with just the one Japanese ally, when it comes to promotions and things like that. He noted that Paul Levesque and perhaps even Nick Khan have been looking at possible other Japanese promotions to work with in the future, along with a quote-unquote women's group ally, so maybe something like a Stardom or something like that. Internally, the major company that has been discussed is New Japan Pro Wrestling, so that's a biggie, because WWE are thinking about trying to make another go with the promotion now that Tanahashi's taken on the role of president. A lot's changed, Phil, since you've been away.
Yeah.
He's the president now, so that's obviously a massive thing straight away there, but you've also got to factor in here that AEW have quite a relationship with New Japan. Obviously, Forbidden Door, they got that pay-per-view. A lot of talents go over to AEW from Japan. Obviously, AEW back to Bryan Danielson, John Moxley were just at Wrestle Kingdom. That is a really big thing for both companies. So it's not really known at this point whether that pre-existing relationship is going to have any impact on any potential WWE partnership or anything like that. The last time WWE did discuss working with New Japan was in 2021, I believe, and it didn't really come to anything, because at that point Vince McMahon was still very much around, and it wasn't ever going to turn into anything, was it? Come on, let's be honest. So we don't know what's going to happen now. Stranger things have happened under the Levesque, Nick Khan regime that we're in right now. CM Punk's back in WWE. Anything can happen.
Exactly, yeah. Who knows at this point? They've tried this before a few times. I know part of Daniel Bryan back then wanting to sort of stay with WWE was I want to work with New Japan. If you can make that happen, then I can stay with you guys. But they couldn't make that happen at that time. There was the thing with Carl Anderson when he was the never openweight champion, and there was kind of a little bit a relationship going on there, and the pride stuff with Shinsuke. It's never quite hit, but obviously, like you say, there was a quite big barrier in the way of making that work, and that barrier was shaped a lot like Vince McMahon. So it'll be interesting to see now with a brave new world over in New Japan and a brave new world in WWE. It's going to be very interesting to see how these two things come together and what that means, because it doesn't just mean great things for the potential of the Japanese wrestlers and them coming over to work with WWE, but just with NXT, they've got a bunch of guys that potentially have only ever worked for WWE down in NXT, and being able to sort of do what New Japan do with the Young Lions and send them out to a different promotion to get more experience elsewhere in different styles and different audiences. It'd be invaluable to people down in NXT. So hopefully they can get something here together, because it seems to just work out for everyone.
Yep, I agree.
But we'll see. But moving over to SmackDown, and Tyler Bate has made his main roster debut last night. Now, he teamed up with Butch to take on Pretty Deadly, and ended up winning the match with the Tyler Driver. And he obviously has a rich and storied history with Butch and Pete Dunne in his earlier days. Obviously, he was part of Pete Dunne. Who's this?
I don't know who that is.
He was part of British Strong Style back in Progress, and then they were brought to WWE at the exact same time in the end of the UK Championship tournament or whatever it was that they held in Blackpool. Which ended up being Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne at the time in the main event, where Tyler Bate won to win that championship. And as storied competitors through NXT UK and through onto NXT as well. But amazingly, this is actually Tyler Bate's first ever televised match for Raw or SmackDown in his 7 years now that he's been with WWE, which is kind of insane if you think about it.
And he's still 21. He's just never aged.
So we'll have to wait and see what this means going forwards, whether he's going to be sort of a more full-time replacement, I guess, for Ridge Holland in the sort of Brawling Brutes kind of stable, or if this is going to be a long-term call-up. But whatever happens, this is great news for Tyler Bate. It's been a long-ass time coming for this guy to be called up to the main roster and see what he can do on like a Raw or SmackDown kind of a platform.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like you said, I feel like I've been watching him in WWE for a decade. Like we nearly have. It's insane. I really hope, and like it's awesome in a way that it's taken this long, because now he's arrived in a landscape where someone like him could actually do incredibly well. I think if he popped up a couple of years earlier, Vince is there, you kind of look at it, he's a bit small, okay, he's English, right, put him in a top part in the K and have it danced down there. Like, it's just, that was going to happen. It was bound to happen, wasn't it really? Whereas now, Triple H is going to go, okay, I've had this guy just waiting in the chamber for years, and now, bang, I can just pull that trigger, and he already blew the roof off the place on SmackDown. Everyone was like, who the hell is this? Who'd not been watching NXT over the years, NXT UK, so there's a lot to come from this man. I'm very excited. Yeah. So that's the one of the big ones. But obviously there was the other big debut on SmackDown, Phil.
Was indeed. And the Authors of Pain are back on SmackDown. So they came with to interrupt the sort of Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. The Almighty New Year celebration thing that they were doing. So Karrion Kross and Scarlett appeared on the sort of entranceway, and Authors of Pain attacked them from behind, beat the crap out of everybody, and then they joined up, like Karrion Kross and Scarlett and the Authors of Pain and their manager Paul Ellering all joined up on the ramp afterwards, and it seems like we've got a new faction within WWE. Now this has been speculated for quite a while and sort of WWE news landscape, and they have finally pulled the trigger on it. Now they kind of quietly resigned from WWE back in August of 2022 with no real explanation as to why or what happened there, but they are back now. The last time they were seen on the main roster, obviously they did stuff in NXT, but the last time they were in the main roster was March 2020 on Raw. It's a very different world again to what it was back then, so it's going to be interesting. Hopefully this is a bit of a breath of fresh air into sort of Karrion Kross and his package. Not that package, his overall package. It just breathes new life into that character, and we can do some interesting things with this as a stable. Yeah,
I think it's really beneficial for Kross. I think he's needed this. He's really needed just something to breathe a bit more life into that character, because it just flatlined, didn't it, over the last year or so. I liked AOP. I liked him in NXT. They were fine on the main roster, but again, the direction was kind of a bit all over the place. They didn't really get much of a chance to make a massive impact. I think this division needs a massive powerhouse unit, the doubles team that's going to just destroy everybody. I'm very excited, like watching them collide with, like, I don't know, even just like Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. Like just there you go, off the top of your head. Just that collision is going to be ridiculous when that kind of stuff happens. I'm very intrigued about this, and it's been a long time coming, like you said. So let's just see now. Let's just see what happens in the future with it going forward. But something we don't have to wait until the future to see right now is a record that was just smashed. But it's a bit weird because it's WWE. It can never just be simple and just straightforward. Like, a record was broken, kind of, or was it? We don't know. I don't know. It's strange. So, CM Punk, obviously, when he came back, like we've mentioned this already, he came back at Survivor Series. Big old thing, social media just erupted, and as of like December 30th, 2023, I think it says here on my little tweet that I have, he said that it was the most social moment in WWE history. He got 105 million views across all social media platforms, so that's epic. That's almost as popular as one of our videos. That's huge numbers. So, that was a big thing. Obviously, that was a big moment, big record. But then that guy, that bald-headed Samoan dude, The Rock, just decided to show up on Raw and just completely destroy it, really, on day one. He did his promo with Jinder Mahal, said all the Roman Reigns stuff, all that kind of jazz. And after this, we are now like, what, 5 6 days removed from that. And WWE put on social media, apparently they mentioned it on Smackdown as well, that moment got 171 million views. So that's a social media record for WWE, is how they worded it. The thing is, that what I'm trying to get across here, it's very hard to kind of be specific with this. It's not like a thing of like one single post record across multiple platforms. They've just put, it broke a social media record, and it's a bit like, yours, the world's, what happened? Like we don't really, yeah. So it's a tough one to really properly analyze, but I don't know. It's exciting, I guess, because it just seems like The Rock now has once again just come back, destroyed all the records, and if you kind of put that Punk one and this one side by side, he's beaten Punk in a matter of months, so I bet he's over the moon about that.
Yeah, this is, it's funny regarding the sort of CM Punk and The Rock's history, let's say, of the sort of the last time they were in WWE together. Didn't go too well, did it? But I mean, this is different. This is just social media stuff, and it's The Rock. I mean, just the fact that CM Punk could break that record in the first place after being away for 10 years is like genuinely incredible. The Rock is The Rock. He's like one of the biggest movie stars in Hollywood. You just look at how many followers he has on his social media. It like smashes everybody else in like WWE. Like you could probably add up a huge chunk of WWE and it still wouldn't come up to The Rock's amount of followers on social platforms. So it is slightly different. So he has got the power of The Rock behind it. So I wouldn't take anything away from CM Punk as a moment and as a sort of socially shared thing. It's just kind of funny given their history, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be honest, Punk is, I think they've got a good relationship. I think I've seen a few interviews over the years where Punk's a bit like, whatever happened, we sat down, we spoke, it's good. Like, The Rock tried ringing him at one point, remember? Like, in the middle of all this kind of WWE hiatus, like, he tried ringing him and getting him on the phone in a WWE event or something. It was just,
oh God, yes, completely forgotten about it.
Yeah, years ago. But he did that, and I think, but I've seen an interview of Punk just being like, that was really funny, and I think I was out walking my dog and I missed it, awkward, like, so that's great. Yeah, it's just very funny, funny history.
It is indeed. But moving over, finally, WWE are very interested in a former NWA women's champion, and it looks like she is set to join WWE. Now, this is Camille from the NWA, obviously. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reporting this, saying they have like an update on it, saying that she is expected to sign, and that signing will be for the NXT brand. Now, last year she was talking a lot about WWE, saying that like the top of the top, like in comparing it to like top sports teams and things like that, and that she would be very interested in taking an opportunity in WWE to show the world what she can do. Now, PW Insider are also reporting on this, saying that an NXT deal has at least been offered to her. Whether she has accepted that yet or not, we don't exactly know, but I assume more will be coming out very soon about this. Now, when she was in NWA, she was in Nick Aldis's stable, Strictly Business. Obviously, Nick Aldis has since moved to WWE as a producer and then the sort of general manager. And she was in the NWA for 5 years, and now during that time she kind of transformed herself from kind of Nick Aldis's like muscle, his insurance policy as he called it, to being the longest reigning NWA women's champion of the modern era at 813 days. And last year, because of all that, she was number 9 on the PWI Women's 250. Now, she is a hell of a prospect for WWE and looks like she is very, very hungry and interested in showing the world what she could do. So it's going to be very interesting what she can do in NXT and beyond. But yeah, an interesting new prospect for WWE.
Yeah, WWE just sweeping up all these incredibly talented free agents that they can really just to bring in and try and mold. And I love how competitive it's got right now with AEW and WWE just trying to just compete to get these talents through the door. It's only good for the business. It's only good for the people who are actually doing the performing and the bumping for a living, because they're going to get all that money with everyone competing for each other. So I'm excited about it. I haven't seen a lot of it. I won't lie, I've not seen a lot of it, but I'm always intrigued by this kind of signing because it's somebody who's actually been out there in another promotion, working, getting reps in, doing that kind of stuff. It's even though a lot of the people that come through the Performance Center have just kind of come from like amateur sports and things like that, and that's work for some people. I feel like the best results tend to come from people who've got reps outside of WWE in an actual wrestling kind of scenario, and then come in and just been molded and just tightened up and just kind of like polished a little bit. So hopefully big things coming in the future.
Absolutely, and that is it. Thank you very much for joining us. If you want, you can follow us over on Twitter or X or whatever. You can follow me at FillMyChambers, and you can follow Gareth
At GMorgan04.
Click this video down below to continue on your YouTube journey in this fine 2024. But most importantly, have yourselves a bloody good year. Not just day, the whole year.
Yeah, do it now.
Now, or else.